And ladies and gentlemen, we welcome you to another Friday night under the lights. Western High School Wildcats host the Bulldogs of South Broward High School here from Davie, Florida. Ryan Stout alongside Chris Jenkins tonight, bringing you high school game day every single week. Yes, folks, we did 8 games last month, ran the analytics, and doing some outstanding things. We also always appreciate the support of everyone out there, our audience, and tonight, special thanks to the people that make this thing go viral. Remember, you can watch HSPN all over the place. Bleacher.com, FloridaVarsity.com, HighSchoolFootballAmerica.com, FloridaHSFootball.com, FloridaGridironPreps.com, and Never Had It So Good Sports Radio. And if this is your first time tuning in tonight, do not forget that anytime during the broadcast, we have the Twitter feed live and active here on HSPN Sports. So hit us up on the Twitter feed. Join the conversation. Whether you're on YouTube, we can't see the stream on YouTube. So if you're commenting on YouTube, remember that we can only see the Twitter feed. The @HSPN Sports. Hit us up and join the conversation. Once again, the Wildcats back to receive tonight on a homecoming night for the Wildcats. Both teams not showing their true colors this season, both kind of struggling with their schedule so far. But nonetheless, we're going to make it look good tonight here on HSPN Sports, so we thank you for joining us tonight.
Two teams that are struggling, like you just said, Ryan. 4-5 and 1-8.
Yeah, South Broward's actually last in their district right now. So they're coming from South Broward is coming from the 7A District 15, Class 7A District 15. They're actually last in their district right now, which they are struggling. But hey, hopefully they can put something together here.
Well, we're still giving them coverage nonetheless, and that's good.
Exactly.
That's great from an exposure standpoint. You got Tyler Monaco heading things up at the QB spot for the home team, and they just completed a pass to pick up the first down. That one was to Stefanson Frenard, and they keep it on the ground in the second play.
And Western in the Class 8A District 12, they are 5th right now in the district, but they got some powerhouse football teams. Flanagan at the number 1 spot with a 6-1 record in the district. Plantation, Miramar, Cypress Bay, and then Western. So nonetheless, a big-time division that Western is playing in. Right now they are 2-4 in their classification. So once again, homecoming night here from the Western Stadium.
We got a stoppage at play, but second down and looks like about 9 coming up for Western as we just are underway. First quarter play, no score here in Davie, Florida tonight. Monaco being pressured now, finally gets this one off, completes about the line of scrimmage and gets no further. So it's going to bring up a third down and about 9 as he gets back to the original line of scrimmage on that one.
Monaco, one of the many impact players tonight. On the offensive side of the ball, Tyler Monaco, the QB, Elijah Moore, Stevenson Fernandan. I hope I don't blow that up at the wide receiver spot. Keaton, and this is a good one too, Venata at the O-line position. This is Keaton's first game back into it. It's been struggling with some knee stuff going on, but ultimately back in the game. Had a chance to talk to him this week and said he's feeling really good and excited to get back into the game. So that's the offensive side of the ball. Defense, Joseph Rotger at the inside linebacker position. Jalen Goldwire at the defensive back position. Nick Lovingsheimer, also linebacker, and at the defensive back, Sean Moore. You're going to see him in the corner spot today. So those are the impact player for Western. The Wildcats, and once again, starting off this game, this is the first possession here of the game.
Western preparing to get it back. South Broward preparing to get their first crack at it as the third and long unsuccessful for Western on a short punt. This is going to end up giving South Broward, good field position as we are coming up on the 10-minute mark here. First quarter play, no score. As you said, homecoming for these Wildcats taking on the Bulldogs.
Well, like we talked about, Chris, 8 games we did last month. We were looking at the analytics today. We're reaching 1.2 million average a month. And we did 8 football games, which is double, basically too short of what we did in entirety last season. So some outstanding things here, but nonetheless, we've covered a lot of high school football this year, and we've seen a lot of it. And, one thing from our experience is when you start out with the football, you got to make progress. So giving
absolutely.
it up to South Broward this early on, we talked to Coach. We've talked to them previously, and one of the things obviously their record doesn't show their true potential, but you have to put up points. You have to make some positive movement, and leaving it up to the special teams isn't always the best route because we haven't seen the best special teams out of really any school outside of maybe charter.
I agree, yes.
The kicker over.
And that could prove a key tonight if these two teams struggle to move the ball. And on South Broward's first possession,
right,
you got offsetting penalties, but still not a good way to get things started off for Dorfan Hall and this Bulldog offense. So they're going to start 1st and 10 on offsetting penalties, and they'll see if they can get something going again. The first play was a running play. They keep it on the ground on the second play, maybe get a yard or so. That's going to bring up a second down, and we'll call it about 10 as he probably got back to the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, the junior quarterback, number 7, Dorian Hall, is 6'5", 185 pounds. I went out on the field and saw this young man, and he is towering over most. So he's starting at the QB position. We got some wide receivers out there as well that are going to be leading this offense tonight. But they have struggled all season.
And they keep it on the ground, and they might take it the distance. Busting through tackles. He's going to go at the 10, the 5, breaks another tackle, touchdown.
That's how you
Bulldogs.
That is how you're supposed to start it off. South Broward taking advantage of the opportunity, receiving the punt in their own territory, but ultimately number 10, Alan Crawford, at the running back position, takes it the distance for South Broward, and they strike first blood here in this homecoming game. So what a shock here early on.
Alan Crawford making it happen. I believe that was about a 75-yard run.
Well, excuse me, I got 2 number 10s on my roster, so it could be Alan Crawford or Chris Pete.
Okay. We'll get it straight eventually.
So I want to say it's Alan Crawford based on the other resources we have, but unfortunately they only gave us 1 roster for the entire box up here. So that's the situation that we're in tonight. Once again, it's high school football, say none the least, and we do our best. And it looks like South Broward is going to attempt the 2-point conversion here, not putting in the hands of their special teams, and they're going to just run it right up the middle. And going to see, it might be Crawford once again or a quarterback sneak. It looks like Dorian Hall is going to try and take it up the middle, and they're going to stop him short of the 2-point conversion. So taking a chance here early on, trying to go for 2. I don't know if it's a lack of trust in the special teams game for South Broward. We have yet to see what they can put up in the special teams game, but a little risky business, to say none the least. Here early on, 9:02 on the clock, 6 points on the board. That could cost them later on, I'm just saying.
Absolutely.
So, once again, the Wildcats receiving. Again, within only minutes here, they had the call to receive in the first, deferred, and South Broward's going to get it in the second half of play. So,
and if you are South Broward, in spite of not making that 2-point conversion, you got to be feeling pretty good.
Right.
If you're Coach Georgia and this South Broward team, as we said, 1-8 coming into this one, 0-5 in district play.
yeah.
You look for anything positive that you can get, and they got something good coming right out the gates with Crawford taking that one the distance.
In the first possession, that you talk about having a momentum swing early on.
Absolutely, yes.
It has tremendous value that you're able to come out there and do something, put something together early on in the game, especially on the offensive side of the ball. So, and it looks like that kick, and I think that confirms our call based on why they didn't go for the extra point.
Yeah.
Because that young man just kicked the ball out of bounds.
And just gave up, what,
right.
at least
well, it looks like, correct me if I'm wrong, but they might spot him on the 35-yard line.
So we're talking about a minimum of about 15 extra yards of field position. And that's
probably the situation we have here tonight. They're probably going to go for 2. Last week, I want to say it was last week, whenever we covered Piper, that was the case for Piper High School. Coach Coleman taking a chance, going for 2 really every single time. So don't be surprised if that may sneak up on them later in the game. And on the defense side of the ball, number 66. If only we had that number on the roster, but that was number 66 for South Broward on the tackle.
So 6-0 is the score. Coming up on the 8-minute, 30-second mark here from Davie, Florida Western, trying to get something going offensively. Their second offensive possession with a 4 wide receiver set for Monaco. And puts it up in the air on short pass, incomplete. And that one was intended for number 16. That was Darius Maxwell, the junior. Incomplete. That'll bring up a 3rd down situation. Check that second. Second and about 11, we'll call it. Wildcats in the black with the gold helmets. South Broward in the yellow and red. They complete the screen pass. Shaking the defender near side. Still on his feet. Inbounds. Finally popped, but picks up first down yardage on a nice run. Elijah Moore on the screen pass. The sophomore took his time, picked up the yards, and that moves the sticks. And Western may have a little something cooking. We'll see.
Elijah Moore had a chance to come out here practice this week, and this young man, only at a sophomore, is an impact player tonight. So we're going to see a lot of him. Monaco definitely has the weapons on the outside with Stephen Fernand and Elijah Moore. So hitting it quick once again, and we might see that throughout the night, Chris. Monaco looks as if he has a decent arm. I had a chance to see him during practice. Pretty accurate from what we've seen during the practice, but ultimately 2 successful plays. I would say one, that slip screen. Yeah. Kind of reminds us of our partner school, Coral Springs Charter. Very familiar with the quick game. So Wildcats looking to make some progress here, and only their second possession of the game.
Looking pretty good so far. Able to pick up 5 on that last play. Monaco looking over the defense. Has got another 4 wide receiver set. He's in the pistol. 3-step drop. Completes this one again to Moore. Trying to get something going. Gets a block. And now finally knocked out of bounds around the 35. So Western on the move. Trying to take the lead as South Broward took it about 75 yards. And they are up 6-0, but extra point withstanding. Western can take the lead as they get another first down and keep the sticks moving. Just short of the 35-yard line, 6-0 to count. About 6:40 on the clock, first quarter of play. Here, homecoming, Western taking on South Broward. Moore in motion, and flags on the play.
And that's good because I'm behind on my shout-outs. I'm looking at the Twitter feed, and we're looking at a host of people joining us tonight. Atlanta, Columbus, Davie, Miramar, Jacksonville, Pembroke Pines. We're keeping it local tonight. Oh, I lied. We're going to Brazil. Brazil, Germany. We're going worldwide and back to Sunrise, Miami, Miami Beach, North Miami. We got a lot of people joining us tonight. We thank you for joining us. And once again, the Twitter feed is live at HSPN Sports. join the conversation. We can see where you're coming from, but we don't know who you are. So at any point, hit us up on the Twitter feed. We'll give you a shout-out. Join the conversation.
Monaco puts it up in the air after the penalty. They get it back and more on the short little dump off. That was to number 16 at time, Darius Maxwell, on the reception. And Western looked like they were trying to speed it up and get something going, but they want a timeout first to talk about it. So 5:51, the clock's supposed to be stopped, but it's still running. I don't think...
Well, they may have got some seconds out of it.
Yeah, they probably should put at least 10 seconds back on the clock, but we do have a timeout nonetheless.
Yes. 6 points on the board, and like we said, Chris, that could definitely affect them. Only 6 points. I mean, you're really looking at potentially what could have been just 2 field goals.
Yes.
But like we said early on, if you just joined us in the broadcast, the first possession for South Broward, taking it the distance with Alan Crawford at the running back position, number 10 tonight. Dorian Hall leading the way at the quarterback position. And I want to say, maybe 65 yards, 70 yards?
Yeah, 65, 75 yards. I want to say they had the ball spotted on that play that Crawford scored on around the 30 or 35. Monaco puts it up in the air, and Western on their way to 6 to pay dirt. We haven't seen an official give us any type of touchdown sign, but I guess they did, and Western gets on the board.
It looks like number 3 on the reception again, Elijah Moore. Nonetheless, an impact player, putting first points on the board for the Wildcats. And they are going to go for an extra point. So we're assuming they have the kicking game down, and it goes through the uprights, and that's going to be 7 points. I'm telling you, Chris, that could kill them in the long run, that 6 points. That'll come back to haunt you.
Absolutely. Yeah, Santiago looked pretty good on that one as the kicker, the senior for Western. And if you don't have the ability just to get extra points,
right,
it puts a lot of pressure on your offense.
Exactly.
And we'll see if South Broward can hold up. They got a great play.
Exactly. A lot of pressure on the offense, a lot of unnecessary pressure you put on the offense, saying, what do your skill guys look like? And like we said, it could haunt them in the long run. But hopefully, hey, back-to-back. Wildcats taking a little bit to get the pipes warmed up, but ultimately coming out with 7 points. Monaco leading the way at the quarterback position and taking advantage of his wide receivers out there. So
about a 7-play drive, went about 65 yards, get the extra point, and they are up now. 5:28 on the clocks. First quarter of play, Western takes the lead up 7-6.
And they're going to get a flag here. A little confusion. What seemed to look like, I don't know if it was strategy or they just were lined up on the opposite sides.
They're going to back them up 5 for offsides on the kickoff, which is very rare.
Yeah.
But they're going to be penalized, and South Broward will move up 5 as they prepare to try and answer. Western taking it the distance with the extra 15 yards, and on their second series, get 7 on the board and have the lead. They prepare to kick off to South Broward on a short kick, taken up around the 20, and still on his feet after an initial hit and plowing forward, and still moving forward. Oh my goodness, nice run.
And that's how you go.
Great
until
field
the whistle
position.
Blows that young man. And I'm looking at some of the stuff here, Chris, just in their standings, in their classification. Western's coming off a tough loss last week. They played Miramar, and Miramar doing some rebuilding, but ultimately still putting up 53 points on the board. Coming out, Western only put 20 points on the board, but they're one of the few that are going on in their standings. So they're coming off a pretty tough loss.
Yeah, and same for South Broward at Hollywood Hills, lost that one 35-7. So both these teams trying to end the season on a good note. And South Broward going to Crawford once again. He was one tackle away from taking that one the distance. Picks up about 12. That'll move the sticks. So South Broward going the other way, trying to make something happen.
Crawford's looking really nice tonight. He basically talked to the coach, and they said you're going to see him in multiple areas of the field, predominantly at the running back position, but he can move around. Overall athlete, you're going to see him possibly at the wide receiver position and maybe some defense.
So Hall under center gives it off on another running play, and on the first down run picks up about 5. Well, 4 we'll call it. Short gainer.
Making sure they establish their run game early in this game tonight, which is positive. I don't think we've seen Hall throw the ball yet, unless I was looking down.
Maybe once or twice. They've been content to keep it on the ground, and Crawford's been chewing up a lot of yards. Of course, got their first score, as we said, second or third play from scrimmage. Hall under center now with the 3 wide receiver set, 1 back set, and he's still got the ball flushed out of the pocket far side, decides to tuck it, get what he can. A hard pop out of bounds, but close to first down yardage.
And that was number 20 on the tackle, out of bounds. It looks like Hunter Stevens.
Nice stick.
On the big hit. And it looks like we got a penalty call, and they might call it on Hunter.
We'll see what this is. Stevens coming up from that safety spot.
Well, hey, look, Chris, this has been, I know you've been watching some college football. This has been a big topic this week in terms of targeting, hitting guys out of bounds, the cheap shots. I've seen at least 2 games. I want to say one was Tennessee. I cannot think of the other game, but it was a college football game, and these guys, look, they're getting ejected. They're getting they're disqualified, and they'll take them out for a half.
Absolutely.
And some of the calls are definitely questionable in terms of, look, it's a crackback.
Yeah, it just makes it difficult to know where to even place a hit if you're a defender.
I can understand targeting of the head, being able to come in and obviously, head-to-head contact is unnecessary. But I've heard a couple of commentators at the national level really take it to a different level of saying they should take away crackbacks.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, that's, to me, it's like, well, you might as well take the helmets off of the guys and say, you know what, they shouldn't even use. I mean, I don't know. I don't know.
It's just kind of taking things to a ridiculous level almost. I don't know if that's the right word to use, but with so much.
I can understand the safety.
Yeah, with so much emphasis being placed on that and the whole concussion issue, blah, 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 it just makes it extremely difficult if you are a defender, probably now more so than at any other time. I think in football over the last 5 to 7 years or so, it's just gotten very tough. Yeah, it's definitely things are obviously changing with the technology.
I mean, they have helmets now for 7-on-7 events where you just put this thing over your head, and I don't know if it's rubber. I haven't put one on, but they're definitely taking the right precautions. But there is a fine line, like you're saying.
So Bulldogs coming out after the unsportsmanlike penalty. They keep the sticks moving, and they pick up about another 7 or 8 yards on the completion. Hall over that far side. It's going to bring up a 3rd and about 3. Broward down 1 point, 6-7. Western put together a 7-8 play drive. The last series for them took the lead, and South Broward trying to answer. Here, homecoming, Davie, Florida. Western taking on South Broward. So man in motion now for Hall. Sets up the screen pass far side, and he won't get first down yardage, and a flag coming in late from way in the back of the end zone. So we'll see if this will allow South Broward to keep moving forward or back them up. And And that is an illegal block. So that's going to back up South Broward. Instead of a 3rd down and 3, they're going to face a 3rd down and long situation. 3:07 on the clock. First quarter play. 7-6 is your count.
Homecoming night. Hey, I'll tell you, Chris, I haven't seen this many cheerleaders at a high school football game yet.
That is a very good point. We're talking about the size of a football team.
Yeah, 3 rows deep and across. We're probably talking about 15. I don't know, I may be wrong, but we'll get a camera shot down there eventually.
Hall going deep, back of the end zone. Caught momentary touchdown, but a flag comes in late. We'll see if it stands. Maybe an offensive pass interference. I believe this one's going to come back.
Taking a chance with his arm. I'll tell you one thing, Dave. Western has to respect the run game. Crawford doing some damage here in the running game, but surprised to see Hall.
So that was a pass interference against South Broward. That will negate the touchdown.
Hall using his abilities in the air, and that was, outside of the penalty, that was a beautiful play.
Absolutely. Nice ball.
I want to say it was number 9 on the reception.
Yes, that was Dennis Roberts, the intended receiver on that.
Well, they're really going to back him up. Second and forever here. Second about maybe 25, close to 25 yards.
So the ball's at the Western 40 as the touchdown is negated. So 2nd and 20 coming up for Broward. 2:59 on the clock as we are having a discussion with the refs just short of the 40. As they talk about it, get it all sorted out, and we'll get back to play here. So ball's going to be spotted at the Western 40. South Broward penalized, touchdown wiped off the board. That time to Roberts. Nice one from Hall. 2nd and 20. Hall in the shotgun decides to go over the far side. Incomplete. Flags on the play, so this one might be interference going the other way.
Let's find the white cap, see what he's got for us. And got some, I'm slacking here on the Twitter feed. Once again, we are live on the Twitter feed and got some interesting things going on. And Tampa, Deerfield Beach. Oh, man, Villa, Spain. New York, Tallahassee. I'm going the wrong way, too. Wyatt, I don't think there's enough time to get through all these plantations on here, but I think the coolest thing right now is our streaming partner, Bleacher.com, is running instant replays for us right now. Best thing about streaming on the YouTube platform is it's just like your DVR on your television. At any point, you can rewind. So
nice.
I'm telling you, Chris, we may be on the cutting edge. The FHSAA may be calling us up saying, hey, we might want to do instant replay. But, hey, we'd probably be here. Like you said, college football. I can't think of a broadcast that really goes longer than a college football game.
Yeah.
Those games take it the distance with all of the instant replays, confirming calls, but nonetheless, on YouTube, you could check it out.
So that was a spot foul, pass interference against Western. It did move the ball back to the original line of scrimmage for Broward. They were able to get about 5 yards on that play. So it's going to bring up a 3rd and manageable 5 or so to keep the drive alive. Coming up on the 2-minute mark here, first quarter action. 7-6 the count. Western up by a point. We'll have to watch the special teams, as we've alluded to a few times, to see if that comes back to bite Broward. They go for a 2-point conversion on their only score, and face a 3rd down and about 5. Hall now pressured. He's going to tuck it. He's going to get the 1st down and keep going and knock that out of bounds. Man. We'll see if it stands. Flags everywhere after the play's over.
Flags all over the field tonight. I want to say the last 3 plays have been some type of penalty.
We'll see if this one stands. It's going to be a hold against Broward. So they keep shooting themselves in the foot, Ryan.
Yep.
They're going to be backed up. Instead of having the 1st down, it's going to be a 3rd down and probably double digits to pick up that 1st.
Well, you may or may not see it in the camera lens, but yes, we welcome rain here at Western, their high school football field. Just looks like a drizzle, but the umbrellas have come out, and good thing we're in a box.
So the penalty actually only backs him up 5, not a holding call. An illegal procedure backs him up 5. So still 3rd and about 7 or so as Hall's rolling to the near side. Tries to shake a defender, but finally tackled. Nice defensive play coming up big, number 23, Kelton Green.
Hall, I mean, it looks like he's got plenty of time back there. And honestly, he did. I'm going to call it a coverage sack right there because being able to have time in the pocket and roll out at the same time, if you don't have someone open, you either got to throw it away or you got to take off. But I'm not too sure if he knew that young man was behind him.
And now, once again, we're going to see if special teams rear their ugly head as South Broward is facing a 4th down and about 14, and it looks like they're going to go for it. Hall and the offense still on the field. A 4th and about 14. Hall going to go for it over the far side. Fade route incomplete. So that's going to give Western great field position as South Broward goes for it on a 4th and long.
And that's tough. That's a tough situation, and we've talked about it. If you don't have special teams, you're putting a lot of pressure on both sides of the ball, especially offense, because, I mean, you're looking at a situation where you're demanding the offense to score every time they get possession of the ball. On the defensive side, you know, it could be a long night because if you're not putting up points on the offensive side and the defense, you can't blame it always on the defense.
Well, it's one thing to go for it on a 4th and short, but that was a clear punting situation for South Broward, and they decided to go for it, to give it up.
Yeah.
Going the other way now, and Western starting out great field position. They pick up 1 on the play, but started from their own 30 as they are up 1 by 1, 7-6 as we are under 30 seconds remaining. 1st quarter action here. Homecoming for Western. Up 1, they complete the screen pass, and they're going to get the 1st down yardage. Nice run that time by the young man, James Leon, the recipient from Monaco.
And a couple shout-outs, Belle Glade and Corona, California, joining us tonight on the broadcast. We thank you. The Twitter feed is live. The YouTube feed is live. If you comment on YouTube, we'll see it in the studio, and they'll get it over on the Twitter feed. But at HSBN Sports, you can hit us up.
So Monaco completes this one. It's going to be the last play of the first half, and jittering, shaking, jiving, moving is Elijah Moore. He's going to have enough for another 1st down. That's going to be the final play of 1st quarter action in the book. 7-6 to count. As 2nd quarter action coming up. Western on the move, trying to add to that 1-point lead.
Homecoming tonight for the Western Wildcats, and once again, we're going to get a quick pan of this sideline over on the track. And this is the biggest cheerleading squad I've ever seen in my life.
They are huge. Like I said, we're talking football squad numbers.
Right. Can compete with the football squad. No, I'm just kidding. Hey, it's homecoming night. So, ultimately, we're looking at a situation. It's the last game of the season. It's a home game.
Yeah.
So we always consider the last home game of the season, it's senior night.
And if you're Western, you want to go out, of course, on top. You want to at least have a 500 record.
You have to.
And, pick up a big win and go out on a winning note coming off a big loss, as you spoke to.
Yeah, Miramar, that's tough.
Yeah.
That's a tough situation. 53-20 loss for Western. Both teams coming off a loss.
Mm-hmm.
And really, it's just, everything. You got nothing to lose at this point. Neither of these teams are going to the playoffs, but you still have to understand the pride factor. A lot of these seniors could be their last game for
ever.
The rest of ever. Exactly. Mm-hmm. And that's a harsh reality, but we preach it day in and day out that, there's always, you only get one chance.
Mm-hmm.
And ultimately, like you said, this could be the last game ever for these seniors. So hopefully they put everything on the line here. And looks like we had a flag situation, but it was waved off.
Darius Maxwell, the intended receiver from Monaco, on that play. So a 2nd down and 10. Flag waved off. Monaco in the shotgun, 3 wide receiver set. Rolling out, completes this one to the near side and popped out of bounds after pulling it in is Maxwell.
A great throw by Monaco here, completing it on their own sideline and driving down the field. 11:38 on the clock. In the second quarter of play, they reverse field.
So, ball spotted at the 35. Western on the move, up 1. As we are just underway, early second quarter action. Monaco completes it to the far side on the screen pass. Shaking defenders more, one of his favorite targets, and he picks up minimal gain, maybe 2 or 3.
Elijah Moore, one of the impact players for tonight's game for the Western side of the ball. On the offense, Tyler Monaco, Elijah Moore, Stevenson Fernand, Keaton Venata at the offensive line. And once again, Keaton coming back, one of the best impact athletes on the offensive side of the ball. But had some stuff going on with some knee issues, and is glad to be back out and had a chance to talk to him, and he said he's feeling great.
And that one's incomplete, in and out of the hands of Fernand. So it's going to bring up a 3rd down and about 8 situation for Western to keep this drive alive. Looking pretty good, putting it up in the air most of this series. And the ball is spotted across the 30. We'll call it about the 34. 10:35 on the clock. Monaco in the shotgun once again. Man in motion to complete the screen pass. And we'll see if he can get something going. Breaking a tackle and getting what he can. Flag coming in late. Once again, that's become the norm. That one's complete to Keyshawn Clark. But we'll see if the flag will help or hurt Western and this offense. And this is going to be an illegal block against South Broward, and that'll keep the sticks moving, keep the drive alive for Western as they try to add to that 1-point lead. So the 10-yard penalty is going to spot the ball close to the 10. We'll mark it at the 14, and a fresh set of downs coming up for Western. Monaco, once again, shotgun situation with a 3-4 wide receiver set. Decides to go long, fade route, corner, the end zone flags come in. That's going to be possibly pass interference as interception for South Broward momentarily. We'll see how this shakes out, though.
And a couple shout-outs here on the Twitter feed. Newman, Tennessee, and Spoken. I don't know where Spoken is. Spoken, WA. So shout-out also.
Oh, Spokane, Washington in the house.
Okay.
They just spelled it wrong. They left the E off, I
Okay.
guess, huh? Okay.
I got you. Well,
we'll get it figured out eventually.
One of these days, it's Twitter.
Well,
you can abbreviate. People abbreviate on Twitter, so regardless, I'm looking at a picture right here, and one of the most interesting things is obviously we're streaming to YouTube right now, but if you have a screen share, we got Florida high school football watching the game on a big screen television right now.
Gotcha.
So
Okay.
Got it on their computer, but watching it from the big screen, so that's pretty cool.
So Western keeping it on the ground, breaking a tackle, still plowing forward toward the end zone. Pay dirt. Touchdown, Western. So Western getting something going, finally putting another one in, extra point coming up, and this one will put them up 8. We'll see if they can make good on it. Santiago for the extra point. Well, nice run that time. Able to get it into the end zone. About 7-8 yards out.
Well, Western definitely staying disciplined here on the offensive side of the ball. And we're seeing the outcome at the end of it. 14-6, 9:56 on the clock here in the second quarter. Halftime special presentation with the Western principal. It's going to come up after he crowns the king and queen. So always a fun time for homecoming. It's just always a good atmosphere.
Oh,
so
yeah.
It's a positive atmosphere especially when the home team is winning.
So, absolutely. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Definitely a good crowd here in Davie, Florida. And first time down here in Davie, Florida, outside of the work we've done with Cooper City Cowboys. But this is our first broadcast with the Wildcats. And big shout out to Coach Ratkovich for having us, doing some outstanding things. Just ultimately just trying to get the program back to the greatness that it was, and having some hurdles nonetheless this season. And they'll go 500.
Yeah.
I'm calling it. It early.
Okay.
I'm calling it early in the game.
Bold prediction. We still got 9:56 remaining second quarter play.
It's the last game of the season.
Mr. Stout is calling it. We'll see what South Broward has to say. Great run and nice field position right up toward midfield is where the Bulldogs will start. 1st and 10, trying to answer now, down 8, 14-6 to count, 9:45 here in the second.
It's the last game of the season. I've been conservative all year. We've done too many games, so I'm calling it early on. Western up right now, but hey, I'm not going to lie, a little worried about Hall. Dorian Hall and Alan Crawford at the running back position. South Broward dangerous on the offensive side of the ball. They just got to maintain those penalties.
And they keep it on the ground, and a host of Wildcats in on the stop, as they might have gotten one on the run. And the Bulldogs will have 2nd and about 9 coming up.
And got some more tuned in tonight. Houston, Texas. Chicago, Knoxville, Tennessee. Sanford, Alabama. Vista Township, Boston. And Miami Shores on the broadcast tonight. Thank you for joining us.
So Crawford on the run, breaks a tackle. It's about 7 or 8 on that carry over the far side. And they are officially in Western territory now. Trying to answer, and they're going to face a 3rd and about 2.
And plus, I'm trying to see if there's any alumni out there, any fans out there. Get them going, start poking at them early on in the game. They start showing up on the Twitter feed.
So big 3rd down and short coming up for the Bulldogs, trying to keep the drive alive, and they decide to go with a quarterback sneak and plowing forward. Wow, getting about 5 yards on the quarterback sneak with a host of teammates pushing him forward. Hall picks up the first. That'll keep the sticks moving. Fresh set of downs coming up for South Broward. Very rare that you see that unless it's a 3rd or 4th and 1. A 3rd and about 2, and they got 4 or 5 on the quarterback sneak. So we'll see if Hall and this South Broward offense can keep it moving. 2 wide receiver set, 2 back set. Decided to go over the far side. Crawford on the run, bowing over defenders and picks up about 12. And that'll be another 1st and 10 coming up for the Bulldogs. Just 1 tick under 8 minutes now, 7:59 to be exact here in the second, and South Broward on the move. Ball spotted about the 32, we'll call it, of Western. Wildcats trying to hold up here. Homecoming, we've spoke about that a couple of times. Nice crowd in the house to check them out and root them on. And Crawford over the near sides, got some room, still inbounds and plowing forward. And that'll be enough to move the sticks once again, a gain of about 16 on the carry.
Crawford definitely dangerous at that running back position, and like we talked about, he's considered an athlete on paper. This young man can also be seen in the slot position based on what the coaches are talking about, as well as the defensive side of the ball. So making some noise here at the running back position tonight.
Crawford on the carry once again and snuffing them out that time. That Western defense leading the charge. Number 11, nice tackle by Sean Kennedy, the senior linebacker. So that'll be a loss of about 1. And we'll see if this Wildcat defense can hold as South Broward steadily moving the ball down the field.
Big offensive battle tonight. Going back to back here. Taking their time, too.
Hall under center. 5-step drop. Now flushed. He's going to be tackled for the sack. Nice defensive stop that time.
And it looks like number 23 for the Wildcats coming in and making the big-time stop.
Kelton Green coming up.
And it's really been an offensive battle here. They're taking plenty of time on both sides of the ball, but killing a lot of clock.
2 straight losses on the play, and we're looking at about a 3rd and 16 now for South Broward. They have gone for it before on 4th down. That speaks to their lack of kicking game. We'll see if they're faced in that position again, as we have flags on the play prior to the snap, and it's going to be a false start, which will back South Broward up even further. And now they'll be facing a 3rd down and about 21. And we got a stoppage of play, and looks like going to be a water break. So 5:55 on the clock. 14-6 is your score. Western holding on, coming up with some big defensive plays. The last 2 plays of this possession for South Broward to back them up. And out of the timeout, they're going to be facing a 3rd down and forever. And if history repeats itself, they will consider this 2-down possession to try and pick up that first to keep the sticks moving, keep this drive alive.
Western definitely trying to stay disciplined right here, coming up with those 2 big-time losses against Hall. We haven't seen too much in terms of the passing game for South Broward. Not a lot of combination routes, just really taking a chance with his wide receivers down the field and really coming up with some big-time completions, but you have to take into consideration the penalties.
Absolutely, yeah, they've hurt themselves. Yes. So coming out of the timeout, big-time breakdown, as it looks like this is going to possibly be another offsides as flags on the play prior to the snap. Someone moved up front. We'll see who they get. And it's going to be an offsides against Western. Wow, so South Broward will get 5 of it back. They're still facing a 3rd down and about 16 for Hall and the Bulldogs. In the shotgun, decides to tuck it. Flushed out of the pocket, now gets up to the line of scrimmage and fires one to the corner of the end zone, back of the end zone, caught! Touchdown, South Broward.
And it looks, I want to say, number 2, possibly number 3 on the reception for South Broward. Once again, we don't have their roster Yeah, it's going to be number 3. We don't have their roster, so if anybody can help us out. Based on the somewhat of roster that we have, I want to say it's Rashad Mitchell. But that is not confirmed. So number 3 on the reception.
Yeah, we'll get it straightened out at half for sure. But that is a big play, Ryan, to get South Broward back into this game. They could easily kind of fall apart a little bit based on what Western did that last series.
Well, at some point they have to go for 2, and there's a lot of frustration there for South Broward. So trying to figure out what's going on, and they're moving the ball back. It looks like to the Wildcats' 25-yard line. So there's a lot of frustration for the Dogs on the opposite sideline.
And that was, I believe, a holding penalty that helped to move them back. So they are down, as the touchdown did not count. Just to clarify, the touchdown did not count.
Interesting.
So they're facing a 4th down on the hold, Ryan, and they're going to go for it as Hall is scrambling, trying to make something happen. Flushed out of the pocket, fires one up in the air, up for grabs. Caught by Western. Pick going the other way.
And that's number 9 on the reception for the Wildcats, celebrating on his own sideline. And what a call. I thought it was an extra point they were going for, but ultimately it was a penalty.
Yeah, so a holding wiped off the touchdown, and Robbie Rubel comes up with the pick.
Well, there was a ton of frustration on the side. There's still frustration on the sideline, but looking at the coaches, that could be a killer.
Absolutely. Touchdown wiped off the board, and South Broward could have taken the momentum away. We're not able to convert. We're going back the other way as pass is incomplete from Monaco. And that one was intended for number 2, I believe, for Ferdinand. Incomplete. So it brings up a 2nd down and 10 situation as Western going the other way, starting from their own 20. Good defensive stand, excellent defensive stand for this Western team. And they keep the momentum. Score still 14-6. Western up by 8, 5:11 on the clock here, 2nd quarter action. Davie, Florida.
We've seen some great momentum on both sides of the ball in terms of offense. That one stop, though, could make the difference in the long run. So,
especially if this one stays tight, absolutely.
Exactly. So there's no doubt in my mind that Western's going to be able to go downfield right now outside of these penalties. And put some more points on the board. These both offenses have really been back-to-back, and they're really good in terms of time management. 5 minutes on the clock in the 2nd quarter. Taking advantage of their running game. South Broward doing their thing in the air as well, but these penalties are going to kill.
Absolutely. It's continuing to stall any momentum that they get going.
And a couple shout-outs. Munich, Germany. Santiago, Chile. Cambodia. Libsyn, Spain. And once again, scores and all that good stuff is up on the Twitter feed as well. So regardless if you're listening or you're watching, there's a lot going on. It's Friday night all over the nation. So, hey, there's a lot more teams under the lights right now putting up some stats and scores. So any of those guys, the bloggers, the streamers, check them out on Twitter.
So penalty, false start, will back Western up 5 yards, and they'll start off 1st and 15. And on the completion, Monaco to the little man, roping that one in. I believe that was Zach Shevlin pulling that one in. Check that. That was actually Darius Maxwell on the reception, number 16. Got him confused with number 10. Numbers are a little better to see for Western than South Broward. nonetheless, that keeps the sticks moving. Monaco puts it up in the air again. Pass incomplete. I believe that one was intended for Elijah Moore that time. So incomplete on the pass. They will re-spot it. Ball spotted at the 39 of South Broward. 14-6, if I can get it out. Still your score, 4:06 remaining, second quarter action, as Western trying to seize the momentum for sure and put one more in going into halftime, and they complete this one once again. Maxwell pulling that one in, and he's at first down yardage. That'll keep the sticks moving as he gains about 17 on the reception. Fresh set of downs coming up for Western, and they got a little something cooking as we're under 4 minutes now. Ball spotted at the 24, first and 10, Western. Monaco in the shotgun, 3 wide receivers to the near, 1 to the far. They decide to actually keep it on the ground, breaking tackles, still on his feet, rolling over South Broward defenders that time. Nice run from Keyshawn Clark.
Well, like I said, back when they were pinned on their own 20-yard line after the interception, the momentum is with both, I want to say both offenses, really. I wouldn't say specifically towards one. Obviously, that big-time stop on defense, coming out the interception and the touchback has made a tremendous difference. But Wildcats definitely have momentum right here on the offensive side. Potential points here.
Ball spotted at the 9, first and goal for Western. They keep it on the ground. This one might come back as flags on the play. I believe that carry was James Leon.
A lot of flags out here tonight.
Yes, a lot of penalties, and it mainly has hurt the Bulldogs so far. We'll see if they benefit from this one, as it will possibly be a hold as the ref yet to give the call. A first and goal situation. An illegal block against South Broward. Wow, that's going to move it forward as Western inching even closer, trying to put another score on the board going into the halftime mark. And that'll put it at the 5 and an automatic first. So we'll see if this Bulldog defense can hold. This will be a momentum killer or momentum maker if Western can take advantage. They move about a yard or two closer, just about a yard away from 6, as they get about 3 on the carry that time.
And what's odd is, obviously it's probably not the proper time to talk about this again, but I'm just thinking it's an odd time to have homecoming in early November.
Yeah, that is a very good point. I was thinking about that.
Last game of the season, it's very odd because you have to assume that they're going to have their homecoming dance tomorrow.
And balls on the ground. I believe Western recovered it and moved it forward. Actually, a no gain. So Western almost lost possession on that last carry and get nowhere. So a big-time third and goal coming up for Western. Almost lost possession completely that last play.
What are you calling right here? Third and a yard?
And they call a timeout. But
you going to run or pass?
I'm going with a run. I'm just going straight up the gut. We'll keep it simple.
Just
pound it up the gut.
I'd agree. They've been very successful with their offensive play, but on the 1 yard line, if you can't pound it in, you can't get behind those big boys and get the job done, I'd have concerns.
My thought has always been if you can't pick up a yard, particularly when it counts, then you don't deserve to win. I've always had that belief, no matter what level you're on.
There you go. Well, you said it better than I did. So
1:28 on the clock coming out of the timeout, and Western trying to put a nice sting on the visitors from South Broward as they have a third and goal from the 1 And this would be huge if they can punch one in going into the half.
Especially the drive that South Broward had, and the defense stopping them.
Absolutely.
This would be huge.
And they keep it up the gut, Ryan, as we spoke about, and I think they're going to get in. They do. Touchdown, Western Bulldogs. Excuse me, Wildcats. A big-time score from Western.
Especially before halftime.
Absolutely.
Western kicks off halftime. So, important points definitely for them. Now we get a chance to see what the Bulldogs can do on the offensive side, because like we've seen it, and I don't know if special teams have a big play in it at this point, but they're going to go for it every single time.
Yeah,
so
it looks like it.
I mean,
absolutely.
it's necessary at this point. Only 6 points on the board.
Yeah.
For South Broward. But once again, we thank you for joining us tonight, Friday night under the lights, here on HSBNSports.com. Western Wildcats host the South Broward Bulldogs in this homecoming event. A great atmosphere here in Davie, Florida, and we're glad that you have joined us tonight. Remember, the Twitter feed is active. Got it in front of my face. If I'm not quick enough, you can yell at me, but join the conversation.
.124 on the clock, and Western taking advantage of homecoming festivities, and they are up 21-6 as South Broward in a hole at this point. We'll see if they can respond and get some kind of chemistry, momentum, something going into the half.
Now, here's a great point, Chris. I'm looking at the Twitter feed right now, and we obviously love everyone and really our whole HSPN community, and we have someone on Twitter right now, Julia Harris, big shout out. She goes, can't believe, at HSBN Sports, can't believe the biggest game of the season is not being streamed, Raiders versus Falcons. And that's a great point. And Julia, I encourage you to go over to St. Thomas because it is their home game, so it's on their turf. All confirmation to do any broadcast is through athletic directors, the home athletic directors. So
get on them.
Get on them.
Yeah. That's on them.
Get on them. So no doubt, trust me, we contact we've had a relationship with St. Thomas. We've done work with Coach Harriet over at University School as well. And obviously a phenomenal program on both sides. We did 2 Flanagan Falcon football games in the beginning of the year, but we work with coaches and athletic programs that work with us.
Absolutely.
So when a coach, just like we said, and we got the guys in the studio confirming it, when a coach calls us to help give them exposure to their kids, HSPN Sports goes. So Coach Ratkovich.
And that's what we're about.
Yeah.
So,
Coach Ratkovich hit us up.
Help us help you.
Early in the season, right on the HSPNSports.com page, contact us and hit us up immediately after we sent out a blast to say, hey, third year of streaming. Who wants it?
Yes.
Who wants it? We got some great partnerships with schools up in the Coral Springs area, Coral Springs Charter, going to the championship game.
Right.
Stoneman Douglas and Coral Springs High School struggling, rebuilding, I would say, more or less, and doing some outstanding things with those schools on a weekly basis. And
they have been smart to take advantage
absolutely
of the kind of platform HSPN and Keeping Dreams Alive Foundation provides.
Exactly. And I mean, it's, we tell them all the time, we don't pick our games based off of records.
Absolutely.
There's other people that can do that.
No question.
There's going to be plenty of cameras out there. My question is, how many cameras are out here tonight?
If this foundation and or organization, HSPN, Keeping Dreams Alive, was not about giving the kids the recognition they deserve, we wouldn't be here right now.
Absolutely. So,
period.
Bottom line, so Julia, we need your help. Get on them. We're sending you out on the Raiders because that'd be absolutely a great game to cover tonight. But we're here tonight under the lights with the Wildcats homecoming. Appreciate all the support out of the administration. And with only 21 seconds left, we got the principal coming up during halftime after he crowns the king and queen for homecoming. And we're going to talk about the school. We're going to talk about Western High School, and I'm interested to know. This is our first experience down at Western, really with anything.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm excited. Had the chance to talk to Coach Vidal, which oversees football operations here for Western, and just talk about getting the red carpet treatment. We're in the box right now with AC, and I'll blow it up, man.
Yeah,
people,
it's nice.
They think it's funny, but this is probably the best box.
You took the words right out of my mouth. This is in the top 3 without question from a facility standpoint that we receive.
Yeah.
We've been all across Dade and Broward this year. So, but South Broward are on the field, not able to get anything going on this possession, and they sputter on a 3rd down and forever, and they're going to have to face the possibility of a punt, actually, because if they don't, Western's going to be looking really good with a possible field goal attempt, if nothing else, as the ball is spotted at the 15 of South Broward. So they face a 4th down and about 25 coming out of this timeout. They have gone for it on 4th down twice thus far, and it's been a 50-50 from a conversion standpoint. A big touchdown wiped off the board for South Broward, and Western able to take advantage, already up 14-6. They put one more on the board, and that's where we stand now with 9 seconds remaining in the half. 21-6, Western up. Homecoming festivities as we are in the house in Davie, Florida, here on HSBN Sports. Chris Jenkins and Ryan Stout on the mics with you.
Halftime. I'm looking forward to it. We got here early to set up, and the band was getting ready to go. And remember, folks, the cameras don't stop during halftime. We just sit them out there, and if you're a fan of the band, you're more than welcome to sit and enjoy. But in the meantime, we're going to have a special feature. Hopefully we get the principal up here for halftime for an interview, as well as some updates. I'm going to check out the Twitter feed and see what's going on around Broward County.
So only 1 play left in the half, and South Broward actually does get off a decent punt. Ball dies right around the 39-yard line.
You wouldn't know it based on, that's the only punt we've seen out of them.
Check that 41-yard line of Western.
Is that their first point?
That's their first punt. First punt of the contest, and that was a decent one, about a 35-yard punt.
And it's probably bad. I shouldn't make the assumption, but, just based on not seeing a field goal team go out there, I just assumed that we weren't going to see.
Yeah. So it's an easy assumption to make, of course.
My apologies. So
1 second remaining in the half. We'll see if Western just kneels on it, if they're going to go long. Monaco looking like he's going to go. The distance goes across the middle. Completes this one, but that will not be enough, as that's the last play of the half. Ferdinand, the recipient of that, about a 20-yard reception, but
it goes in the books.
That will be it, yes.
Goes in the stat books. And we welcome you to halftime. Once again, it's homecoming here from Davie, Florida. So the Western Wildcats, the band is going to take the field. Going to have some homecoming festivities, maybe some dancers, who knows. It looks like they got some props coming out on the field as well. But once again, we thank you for joining us tonight from wherever you are. And remember, you can watch HSPN every single week. It's getting close to the season end and getting into playoffs, but all types of information regarding sports, high school sports, especially here in South Florida, coming from Bleacher.com, FloridaHSFootball.com, FloridaVarsity.com, HighSchoolFootballAmerica.com, FloridaGridironPreps.com, and NeverHadItSoGoodSportsRadio.com, bringing you content every week and a special feature. We always like to take note. Thursday nights, we feature our Sports Talk Recruiting at 7 p.m. You can also live tweet during the show, regardless if it's pre-recorded or live. You can tweet us at Recruiting Game. So either on HSBN Sports, it will be featured on HSBN Sports, so you'll be able to listen to it on hsbnsports.com. But you have any questions, we're talking strictly recruiting to the high school student-athlete, the ins and outs. We're going through the modules week by week on playingtherecruitinggame.com. We thank them for providing that content on a weekly basis. I want to say we're up to module 2, Chris. in the recruiting, and we're just going into it. It's not your typical talk show. These student athletes are expected to, hey, have a pad and pen ready at all times because we're hitting talking points. We're talking briefly about trending topics. There's not too much content out there as of right now that really features high school recruiting in terms of just media content outside of your typical yearly national signing day.
And that's a shame because there are more of the 1-2-star athletes than there are
Right.
4 or 5-star athletes.
Right.
So you got players across the gamut that want to continue to play this sport on another level.
Right.
And they just simply aren't getting the shine that they deserve.
Well, there's a lot of services out there, and they're doing their best, and they pick out out of A to Z, they pick out A and they E and W and all that good stuff, but there's no really source that for myself that's involved in high school sports, or yourself or a student athlete, to say what's going on. Not the top athletes that are getting recruited,
Exactly.
but what's going on, what's up to date, what's updating me outside of the NCAA, the NAIA, financial aid. When are those things happening? So week by week, we're literally breaking it down and going into each module and breaking down exactly what you need to know. Last week, I would say yesterday, we talked about just setting goals. It was I wouldn't say it was a generic topic, but it was relevant to the recruiting process, talking about how do you prove that track record to say, okay, not only are you an athlete on the field, but you're proving your track record by keeping a schedule and notifying a coach when you do get to that conversation portion of your recruiting process to say, Coach, I already understand what it takes and how it is to have my day scheduled, so I'm ready. I'm ready for that college experience. I'm ready to focus in on the necessary things like taking us to a championship, taking us to the next level, and focusing in on my academics.
And placing those kind of goals out there early on, it really does nothing but help from a discipline standpoint. When you get to the college level and you're talking about having to have the responsibility to attend classes,
right,
and get papers turned in on
no
time.
mommy or daddy.
Exactly. If you don't build those type of skills, for lack of a better description, up early or learn in the type of form that you're speaking to, then you're going to stumble around. And that's what a lot of freshmen do, but you can at least make it easier on yourself.
You have the freedom when you get to college, and you've experienced it as a student athlete. And I always recommend, even for just the students, to say connect yourself to something. Connect yourself, having that added value we talked about last night. As a student athlete, it made my college experience 10 times, I would say, easier because my days were scheduled.
Yes.
Was it harder? Absolutely. Was it, a tremendous workload outside of academics and, having your days scheduled out for you? I mean, it's a tremendous workload, but it makes that experience easy. So even if you don't play sports, attach yourself to a music program, to a DECA program at the collegiate level, something, a business program, whatever it may be, so you can fill that time because you've experienced it, I've experienced it. That dead time is a killer.
Well, you know the saying, idle hands.
Yeah.
So we're talking about responsibility, and the more responsible you are early on, the better off you'll be as you go through the college process.
Yeah, and without getting too much depth, because we could basically do the show over again, but on hspnsports.com, you can go over to the tab Sports Talk. Hit Sports Talk, you'll see the most recent Sports Talk recruiting show, and it's going module by module on playingtherecruitinggame.com. We got 11 minutes to go in this halftime. We're going to take a quick break, and we hope you come back and join us for this second half of play. 21 points for the Western Wildcats, 6 for South Broward Bulldogs. Ryan Stout alongside Chris Jenkins. We'll be right back.
escorted by his beautiful mom, Rosa Rodriguez. Sophomore Princess, Brianna Williams, escorted by her favorite cousin, Trayvon Cassie. Junior Prince, Matthew Lugo, escorted by his gorgeous mother, Janet Lugo. Junior Princess, Olivia Yancey, escorted by her lovely mother, Yamila Yancey. And now to introduce the senior homecoming court. Presenting the young gentleman, Matthew Gomez, escorted by his wonderful mother, Ismary Hernandez. Jack Martin, escorted by his best friend, Brooke Horgan. And Ian Sorensen, escorted by his longtime friend, Caitlin Cabot. Presenting the young ladies, Taylor Phillips, escorted by her handsome father, William Phillips. Anna Sosa, escorted by her handsome father, Louis Sosa. And lastly, Nicole Sosente, escorted by her lovely parents, Chris and Denise Sensei. And now, our 2015 senior homecoming king. And now, your 2015 homecoming king is Matthew Gomez. And your beautiful 2015 homecoming queen is Nicole Suzente. Congratulations. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd now like to focus your attention on the field. Once again, we are honored to be a part of the 2015 U.S. Army Friday Nights Light Tour. Joining us at midfield are Staff Sergeant Demon and Sergeant Richards. As a token of appreciation, U.S. Army will now present a commemorative game ball to our school in appreciation for the partnership tonight. Fans, how about a big round of applause for the U.S. Army and our servicemen and women throughout the globe who stand Army strong to protect the freedoms of our great nation. Today, the U.S. Army and Western High School would like to make a special presentation. The U.S. Army has 7 core Army values that include loyalty, duty, fulfill your obligations, respect, selfless service, honor, integrity, and personal courage. Those associated with our school and our game today have identified Joe Rottner as among man who embodies all of the traits. The U.S. Army would like to take the time to recognize and congratulate Joe with a plaque for embodying the 7 core values. How about a big round of applause for Joe, number 44, linebacker. Make sure you stop by the U.S. Army station located at the stadium to meet some of the Army's finest. And don't forget to text FB12 to 79797 so you can win a GoPro. And that will be announced before the end of this game.
Tell you too, man. Actually, our Darius Maxwell, our guy, 16, he's having a great night. Receivers number 16. He's tonight so far in the first half 6 for 66 yards. Ooh, 66. We're gonna put 67. Yeah, I'm super. 6 for 67. Okay.
I got you. And we welcome you back to live action here from Davie, Florida. Western Wildcats hosting on their homecoming night the South Broward Bulldogs. And a quick stat update here from the booth for the Wildcats on the rushing end. Total of 38 yards, 6 attempts, and leading rusher is number 7, Keyshawn Clark, at the running back position with 27 yards. And from a receiving standpoint, got some nice numbers over here. We got number 3, Elijah Moore, with a total of 68 yards, 5 attempts. Number 2, Stevenson Fernand, with 2 receptions for 25 yards. And number 16, having an outstanding game, Darius Maxwell, at the wide receiver spot, 6 attempts for 67 yards. And on the defensive side of the ball, number 23, Kelton Green, at the linebacker position, number 23 with 4 sacks so far in the game. So some decent numbers here from the offensive side. Didn't get any for South Broward. They don't have their stat people up here. But ultimately, 21-6 score. If you just joined us, we welcome you here. But we got some live action coming from Davie, Florida. And South Broward is starting off this possession in their own territory.
You know, and talking with Coach Georgia at the half, he realized it's a tall task. We spoke specifically just a few moments ago about the penalties, and has just been a major killer for this team as they have a crack at it, trying to chip into this 21-6 lead as we a couple of minutes into third quarter action here from Davie. And we'll see if they can right the ship. Basically just said we need to keep working and stay on task as Hall's being pressured, flushed out of the pocket, trying to find something. Now finally has to eat it as he gets the pass off, and it's going to be completed right as that Wildcat defense was bearing down on him. Completes the pass, but it's still going to bring up about a 4th and about 4.
Yeah, a last-minute completion for them. And want to get a chance to catch up on my shout-outs here on the Twitter feed. Northport, the Hammocks, Titusville, and Portland, Washington, Austin, Texas. And that looks to be it. For now, we thank you for joining the broadcast tonight here on HSPN Sports. Hall once again flustered in the pocket, but making moves.
Holding that ball like a loaf of bread, finally breaks some tackles and gets enough to pick up the first down.
I was just going to say that.
All of that clutter going on around him. He still held on to the ball.
I was just going to say that young man running around like he's Vic. And, yeah, I quote Vic because I'm a part of that time, even though he's still relevant in the conversation. But I'm talking about Atlanta Falcons Vic.
Yeah.
Making moves. But, yeah, Hall doing some outstanding things if they didn't have as many penalties as they did, I would say he would probably be leading right now in passing yards, because this young man has taken some pretty confident strikes there with his wide receivers. But like you said, the penalties, and just like Coach was saying, penalties have been killing him. We get to see one.
And this is going to probably be another one as they switch it up and go with the Wildcat, and you had Crawford actually hand that ball off. And we've got an injured Wildcat down, but there is a flag on the play at the same time. So we'll try and get both sorted out for you and see what we got.
Yeah, so we got a penalty and an injured player on the field. So
can't tell who that player is right now, but there is an injury timeout on the field, and that young man is face down.
So you had a chance to go check out South Broward.
Yeah, talk to Coach Georgia.
What was the spirits?
The consensus is that they haven't been getting a lot of help from the refs from the penalty standpoint. We specifically talked about that touchdown being wiped off the board. We should have a tie game if that penalty does not hold. Western obviously took great advantage of the opportunity going the other way, put 6 more on the board, and that's where we stand, 21-6 at this point. Didn't get a chance to talk about field position, or I should say special teams, and the lack of field position as a result of that, and the 4th down attempts, blah, blah, blah. But that has been
were the spirits okay? How'd the athletes look?
I think they still have a belief that they can stay in this. He just kept it simple from a keys to the ball game standpoint, saying we need to just keep working. As that injured player is actually number 28. That's Fernand.
That's
check that. That's number 20. Sorry, that is Hunter Stevens.
Trying to just pick him up, and he's going to walk off the field. And we didn't even mention the fact that, especially on a South Broward and the defensive side, they got to contain this quarterback that's right now is at 77% with 17 completions, 22 attempts. This young man has 2 touchdowns, 1 in the air, 1 on the ground, and a total of 195 passing yards for tonight. So big expectations out of the defense in this second half with an offense. It's really, it took them a possession to get warmed up. First possession didn't have too much success, but once they got those pipes warmed up, they're just on a roll. And we've seen it out of both offenses really just eating up the clock. That first half went rather quickly, and both offenses really doing some outstanding things. So 8:45, and once again, South Broward has the ball, and had a chance to see a little Wildcat. Changed it up a little bit, but honestly, at this point, Chris, I don't think you need to do too much change. Outside of the penalties, offensively, they got fairly decent weapons out of the quarterback and the wide receiver spots.
Once again, they're going to go with that Wildcat as Crawford lining up under center and handing it off. And that's a little bit of a wrinkle we didn't expect, but I don't know how much it's going to really help you.
Yeah.
In the kind of situation that they're in.
I mean, we saw Crawford early in the game. I mean, he's the reason they got points on the board.
Yeah.
So early in the game, at the running back position, he's definitely most effective. Dorian Hall at 6'5", 180 pounds, I want to say. This young man, I mean, he has the arm strength to get it down the field, and he's able to get outside of the pocket on a consistent basis.
And he completes a short one, but popped as that Western defense stepping up and minimizes the gain. That might have maybe picked up 2 or 3 yards. So we're still looking at a 4th and forever coming up for the Bulldogs. And they are in punt formation. So this will be, I believe, their second punt of the night. We'll see if Western can capitalize. Good field position coming up for them.
And we got a shout out here from Nathan Toledo. Let's go Western. Big shout out to Nathan. I want to say that's on the YouTube that he's giving us a shout out because we don't see it I don't see it on the Twitter feed, but hey, here's a good one, Chris. Got a score update. The Coral Springs High School Colts, partner school of HSPN, is tied at half with Cypress Bay, 28-28. So that's encouraging. Colts struggling to get a win yet this season.
Mm-hmm.
So also other shout-outs, North Lauderdale and Japan.
Wow.
Going across. Oh, and here we go. Here's some more Thailand and Philippines as well. So worldwide, once again, taking it all the way, can't call it the East Coast, east side of the world, east side of the map. Always encourage those that we can see where you're coming from, but we don't know who you are. So we always encourage, at HSPN Sports is the Twitter account. Hit us up. We'll give you a shout-out.
So 7:04 on the clock, 21-6 still the score here from Davie, Florida, as Western on homecoming night trying to pick up the 5th win of the season to go 5-5 to close out the 2015 campaign. South Broward standing in their way, and going the other way from their 20 will be Western. They keep it on the ground near side, shaking off defenders, still plowing forward, and picks up good yardage is Clark on the first down carry, and picks up about 15 yards. That'll move the sticks. First set of downs coming up for Western.
Both teams pretty consistent in the running game. I think we saw a bit of a drop-off that last possession for South Broward. Not too sure what they were trying to accomplish. We saw a little bit of a wildcat situation. I want to say that was maybe the first of the game. Maybe saw a taste of it early on, but wasn't too successful. But Western leading the way for rushing yards is number 7, Keyshawn Clark, as you can see.
Clark on the carry once again, and might have gotten one on the play. So brings up a 2nd and 9 situation as the ball is spotted at the 36 of Western. And they go with a little pitch sweep. Ball takes a hop and picking it up on the hop and still moving forward, and finally popped out of bounds is Elijah Moore. That could have been disastrous as he went with the backward pitch.
Yeah.
Did Monaco, but picking it up on the hop Moore and made positive yards out of it, but it will not count as there's a flag on the play, and this one's probably going to come back as we wait to see what the call is from the ref. And this is a holding call. It'll back them up 10. So a 2nd down and 20 situations. We got a timeout on the field. Now another water break with 5:58 on the clock. Western in control, looking good, up 21-6.
All they had to do right now is maintain what they're doing. We've seen, like we've talked about, a lot of penalties for South Broward, and that's really what has, I want to say, defeated them on the offensive side. Still somewhat in this game, I would say, to get back to my conservative roots. But
yeah, Broward just one or two big plays away from getting back into this contest. We have to keep in mind, this is a shorthanded, very young team. They're a team to possibly be looked at next year. You have Coach Georgia in his first year taking over for this team, but pointed out 2 or 3 very key players that are out for them, one of them being Robert Mobley.
yeah,
He's a junior. He's normally the starting running back. Crawford has looked good, but Mobley is normally the starter, according to Coach Georgia. And then up front, they're missing one of their big-time offensive players at the tackle position, Noah Vasquez. As we're out of the timeout and back to action. Western and Monaco over the middle, and he might have had something going past intended for Fernand. I think he might have got some alligator hands, and I can't blame him on that play. DBs,
yeah, Monaco
all around him.
Yeah, taking a chance in somewhat of what looked like triple coverage.
Yeah.
When you got safeties over top, no doubt you can, at that point in the field, it's just natural.
Yeah, oh yeah, of course. Of course, you
natural.
have to be very brave in that position.
unless you're a receiver that plans on being in the Southeastern Conference, we don't expect you to grab all of those.
So 5:41 on the clock, and third down and long situation for Monaco and Western, and South Broward steps up. Big-time defensive play and a sack, and they will get the ball back with an opportunity to try and make something happen.
Yeah.
Coming up on the 5-minute mark here in this one, still 21-6 is your score, with Western controlling this one. An early lead for South Broward in the first quarter, first 4 or 5 minutes, on a nice long run from Crawford, but other than that, they've been blank pretty much here in this one.
Yeah. Yeah, second half, that's why I was asking you in terms of, how'd the guys look? I know that what Coach was trying to get across in terms of the penalties, and
I think they still feel like they got an opportunity to make something happen. Western comes down with it. They minimize the roll and don't give South Broward an opportunity for the return.
Well, remember, this is a non-district game. It's the last game of the regular season. It's a non-district game.
Mm-hmm.
Neither of these teams are going to the playoffs.
Yeah.
You can't expect too much out of them in terms of, really, honestly, they should be able to leave it all on the line.
Yeah.
Tonight.
Yeah.
Like we talked
Let
about.
it all hang out.
Seniors, possibly their last game ever,
Mm-hmm.
and which is once again a harsh reality. But ultimately, regular season game, non-conference, but still want to end the season on a high note.
And Clark takes the carry. Maybe 2 yards or so for the Bulldogs.
It's always nice to see the homecoming fest. This is probably the best. We've done, I think, 2 homecoming games this year.
This is by far the biggest and most
festive.
Yeah,
is that the
festive
word?
crowd. Absolutely. That's a good
They're
word.
throwing T-shirts at these students. I feel like I'm at a professional game.
Hall putting it up in the air that time, passing complete, trying to get it to his tight end. Clock stop 4:02, and as we said, South Broward not completely out of this. They were killed by penalties in the first half, stalled any momentum that they were able to get, and we are trying to see if they can get something going here as we start to wind down here in this third quarter play. A big 3rd down and 9 situation coming up for Hall. 4 wide receiver sets up and does not complete this one, in and out of the hands of his intended receiver. And we're going to probably have a late hit as a late flag comes in play. So this might keep the drive alive for Broward. This could be big if this goes against Western. They were holding and about to get the ball back, but a late hit will probably keep this drive alive as we wait for the call. Personal foul, Western. So it will keep the drive alive. That'll be a 15-yard penalty, and that will keep the drive alive, moving it close to or right around midfield for South Broward. Ball's going to be spotted at the 49, we'll call it. 1st and 10, South Broward.
Some interesting shout-outs we got here. Algeria, Homestead, Russia, Indonesia, Mexico, Sudan, and that's it for now. But
Sudan.
Sudan.
Wow.
it just keeps coming. So.
Yeah, I'm continue to be amazed.
It's hard to believe sometimes, but you look at the analytics. We're streaming on YouTube, so we can go worldwide at any point. But it's always intriguing. Just to, that's why we're always encouraging at HSPN Sports. We know where you're coming from, but we don't know who you are.
Yeah.
So people have mentioned maybe it's maybe a military base or something like that. People that just want to watch good high school football, but we know South Florida football is the best football.
Well, it's hard to argue that.
But
I've been saying that.
But I didn't know it was going to go worldwide.
Gotcha. Hall pressured, and this was going to come back as there's a flag on the play, still trying to keep it alive, and he's finally
That's just too much time.
nudged out of bounds. Yeah,
I mean,
it's not going to go well for you. It is a hold.
With his ability, and okay, yeah, it's a hold. But his abilities, I mean, I can understand he's looking down the field, waiting for something to open up. But, I mean, it was like maybe a good second or two. He could have just taken off.
Yeah. So, once again, penalties starting to creep up on the Bulldogs as they marched forward across midfield. Now they're going to march back inside their own territory. Ball's going to be spotted at their own 37. And they are facing a second down in about 22, we'll call it. 3:02 on the clock, third quarter action here from Davie, Florida, here on HSBN Sports. Chris Jenkins and Ryan Stout bringing you the action as we wind down the 2015 regular season. And a little razzle-dazzle coming out by South Broward. Not going to happen as they look to go with a wide receiver's pass.
Yeah,
they completed it, but couldn't complete the second half of it.
Looking for a double pass down the field, and
they had to eat it.
For a second, I was wondering why the receiver was just standing there, but
and that was Berthany Aline trying to possibly attempt to pass that one. And Western not having it, and that's going to bring up a third down, and we're looking at probably about 30, close to 30.
And forever.
To keep the sticks moving. So South Broward in a hole, already down 21-6, and they're pulling out the stops. Not working so far. So Hall back, now pressured. Far side, trying to find something going downfield, decides to tuck it and get out of bounds. And they're going to face a fourth down situation in their own territory.
A mandatory punt situation.
Yeah, you would think. You would think they'd have to give it up.
You don't give that kind of field position to an offense that has been putting in some decent work. 21 points in the first half. Have yet to see them convert here in the second half. But like you said, they're really chewing up a lot of clock here. I mean, I'm looking at the clock, our clock.
And getting nothing.
Right.
If you're South Broward.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So their time management is definitely something they're working on here, and it's just you got to convert. So they're going to punt it away, and it's going to be a low one.
Back deep is Moore, and he's going to let it take a bulldog hop, and it's going to go out of bounds about the 33, we'll call it, and that's where Western will take over once again. First and 10 situation, 1:39 on the clock here. Third quarter action from Davie, Florida. Western taking care of business at homecoming festivities, trying to pick up their fifth win of the season, facing South Broward Bulldogs. So first and 10 situation coming up for Monaco. Going the other way as they are up 21-6, flags on the play, and this one's probably going to be a false start against the Wildcats. And this will back them up 5, as that's what the call is. So first and 15 as they mark off the penalty.
The legacy has been laid out. Now it's up to you to do it. Love, Mommy Ron.
So ball spotted at about the 30. First and 15 for Monaco and the Wildcats. 4 wide receiver set, pistol set for Monaco. And flags on the play again. Wow, we're going to possibly have another false start. And I think they're actually going to probably call that one on Moore. Getting across the line of scrimmage, if you're a wide receiver, that is the ultimate no-no.
Yeah.
So backs him up 5 more, a first and 20 now, and 2 back-to-back false starts by Western.
Yeah, you don't jump off sides at the wide receiver position. That's like jumping off sides at the defensive line.
Yeah.
When you're looking at the ball.
First and 20 now for Monaco. Wildcats. Sets up, Near side, incomplete. In and out of the hands of Ferdinand. He had him. Nice ball. It was right there. Ferdinand couldn't come up with it. And 2nd and 20 coming up.
Yeah, that's a good ball right there by Monaco. I've been an even better catch.
Oh, yeah. He had to lay out there for it a little bit, but probably should have come up with that one. So 52 seconds remaining, third quarter play. 21-6 is still your score. Western, they've led most of the way here in this one. 4 wide receiver set. Pistol once again for Monaco. He sets up across the middle, incomplete. And flags coming in late. They just threw everything but the kitchen sink out there.
No doubt, flag on that play. As you can see, the young man's helmet came off. So not a good situation for that player. Flags, like you said, coming from all angles.
And if this one goes against South Broward, it will put a automatic first down in play for Western. They'll keep the drive alive. And once again, penalty will hurt them. And it is going against South Broward. So Western in a bit of a hole, and now they've been bailed out automatically.
All right, so we got some more shout-outs here. And once again, always interesting to see our worldwide audience. Saudi Arabia, Bangladesh, Iraq, Northwest Harborough Creek. So big shout out to those that have tuned in. Once again, the Twitter feed is active at HSBN Sports. I'm desperate to know who's tuned in. So if you're on Twitter, hit us up because we're getting some numbers tonight worldwide that we've never seen before. So
absolutely. We've gotten more worldwide tonight, I think, than at any point in the season, to my memory.
Absolutely. Yeah, no doubt. Early on had a lot of national, and once again, it is only made possible because of this group of people right here. So take a look at it. They're all over the place, not just on this broadcast, but all over social media, making this stuff go viral.
So that was not an automatic first down. They go long, incomplete, near side. Pass intended that time for Kijana White.
Taking a chance downfield, back-to-back. Monaco just letting it loose.
So it was not an automatic first on the penalty against South Broward to keep the drive alive. It was just a spot foul. It moved the ball forward, making it a 2nd and about 7. After they marked off the penalty. Pass was incomplete to White, so still going to bring up a 3rd and 7 situation as Western trying to continue to hold on to that momentum. They're up 21-6, and that's where we've stood for a while now. 38 seconds remaining, third quarter action here from Davie, Florida. 3 wide receiver set for Monaco to the near side, 1 back set for him in the backfield. And he's got time now. Flush steps up in the pocket, almost picked off. Big-time defensive play stepping up that time. Darrell Stevens stepping up from that safety spot and almost got his hands on it, knocked it away, and South Broward holds defensively.
Getting close to that fourth quarter of play, like you said, and kind of stopped. Momentum has somewhat stopped here for both sides. Western not being able to put anything on the board. First possession in a while that they've really struggled to even get into their own territory. So the penalties do not help, but offensively taking a chance, going down the field back-to-back and not coming up with really anything.
Timothy Nelson back deep for Broward, and they got pressure. And it's going to die right around the 30-yard line. Field position has not really seemed to matter as South Broward has, for one reason or another, not been able to sustain a drive, although they've chewed up large amounts of time. They're going to get it going the other way from their own 30, but still down 21-6 as we wind down here in the third. 23 seconds remaining, third quarter action. So Hall and South Broward will start out 1st and 10 from their own 30. Trying to pick up their second win of the season, coming into this one 1-8 under first-year head coach Devon Georgia. And they keep it on the ground and like a pinball bouncing off defenders that time. I believe that's Berthany Aline that was on that carry. And that'll probably be the final play of the third quarter.
And it's interesting, Chris. We saw this South Broward team really come out and put the pressure on the Western defense. Obviously striking first blood with points on the board. Only 6, didn't come up with the extra point, but ultimately, between Hall and Crawford, those guys really opened my eyes. I know as well as the audience checking out. I mean, ultimately, things have slowed down to almost a complete halt, especially here in the second half. The momentum gradually went down for the Bulldogs.
We would possibly have a tie ball game. They wiped the touchdown off on a hold by South Broward. Western, already up 14-6, took it back the other way, scored, and that's where we stand as we head into the fourth. 21-6 to count here from Davie, Florida. Western Wildcats taking on South Broward Bulldogs. Wherever you may be watching or listening, we thank you for doing so. We've gone worldwide tonight.
Yes, we
for
have.
sure. And we thank those folks for tuning in, whoever they are. Good stuff.
Yeah, always. Last regular season game of the season, and looking forward to coming into playoffs, and always appreciate and need your support.
And Broward going with the halfback pass, and this one's nowhere close to where it needs to be. Pass intended that time for Dennis Roberts from Crawford. So a little razzle-dazzle, still not working. Third down situation. 3rd and long for South Broward. Still down in a 21-6 hole.
Got some more shout-outs in McCall, Wyoming, and Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Keeping it local.
Wyoming.
Yep, Wyoming.
In the house. Okay.
I think that's the first I've seen Wyoming. Pretty familiar with most of the names, but have some interesting ones tonight. Going to keep it on the ground.
Yeah,
Bulldogs.
But they close to first down yardage, so this might be fourth down.
That's what's getting me, is
territory.
the fact that they came out with a great running package. I don't know if they just made the necessary adjustments for Western, but ultimately, I mean, it's really almost come to a standstill
And
offensively.
It's actually a third down situation, so check that, 3rd and short. And they're going to get close to the sticks, maybe possibly a yard short from where they're spotting it right now. But if you're Broward, you got to go for it probably on 4th down the rest of the way.
Yeah. I mean, at this point, if you even are considering a possible win,
yeah,
you have to do something drastic.
We'll see what Broward continues to do, as they do get enough to move the sticks for first down. So they keep this drive alive, but you can't chew up large amounts of time and not get points, and that has been the issue, or one of the issues for this Bulldog team. Hall gives it off, and going down right around the line of scrimmage, maybe gain a 1 or so.
Well, it's plenty of time. 10:40 on the clock. It's really, it's possibly could be a 2-possession game if you go for 2.
Yes.
So it's not out of reach for South Broward. So these guys get a little excitement going, get a little Cuban coffee in them or something. I mean, you can almost see from their body language here from the box that, and I don't know if it's because of all the penalties or what it may be, but
that pass incomplete, intended for Timothy Nelson, I believe. So still going to bring up a 3rd down and about 9 for the Bulldogs. Coming up on the 10-minute mark here in the 4th. Hall Now pressured. He's going to tuck it. He's going to have enough for the first down. Gets to the sticks in about 2 or 3 more, and that'll keep the drive alive for South Broward. So Hall and this Bulldog offense still trying to keep it interesting as we are in fourth quarter action coming up on the 10-minute mark. 10:08 to be exact, fourth quarter of play. South Broward down. Took an early 6-0 lead. Could not convert a 2-point attempt, but they have not led since early on in the first. Keep it on the ground and tripped up. Good defense. Nice pressure. Leading the charge at times, Zach Shelvin, the defensive line linebacker, stepping up for the Wildcats on the stop. No gain, so it brings up about a second, actually a loss of 1. So a second and about 11 situation coming up for Hall and the Bulldogs. 4 wide receivers set. They keep it on the ground once again. Wrapped up, big-time defense. Nice stick that time, and I believe that was number 23, Kelton Green. We've called his name a few times. The linebacker stepping up from that linebacker spot. And that's going to be a loss of about 3. So we got a third down and about 13 situation for South Broward. They have had the ball pretty much this entire fourth quarter, but still in a big hole. Hall in the shotgun. 4 wide receiver set. Got some time. Now he's getting some pressure. Now put this one up. Far side. Caught. Flags on the play. Will it stand? And that was number 6, Berthany Aline, pulling that one in. We'll see what the call is. Will it be offensive interference or defensive interference?
Well, he's telling the chains.
So it is a pass
forward.
interference.
He's telling, definitely saw. He was telling the chains to move forward. So
the play will stand. Pass interference against the Western Wildcats. So the play will stand, and South Broward on the march. Got a little something going.
Yeah.
Flags on the play prior to the snap. This one's probably going to come back. It is a false start. South Broward still in this one, but time is starting to work against them if they do not get something on this series in particular. So they're backed up 5.
So if they get the touchdown here, are you going onside kick? Or is there still too much time?
I wouldn't. I just simply wouldn't. I think it's a little too early.
If only you could see your facial expression. If the audience could see your facial expression.
Hall being pressured now. He's going to go down, trying to keep it alive. Finally gets this one off, and they might call intentional grounding. They're going to say he was in the grass, so that will be a sack, and that is huge.
Yeah.
Western defense stepping up, about an 8-yard loss.
Well, regardless if they were going to score or not, they still got 2 more chances to get down the field, but so 7:30 on the clock if they do score.
Well, you might want to think about an onside unless they score quickly here.
Right, because, the clock, I'm looking at the clock right now. That thing is running, number 1. They're going to have to go for 2.
Mm-hmm.
And then, they're just eating up I haven't seen them. They haven't given me the confidence to say they're able to score rapidly.
I agree.
So that's the only reason I mentioned onside kick.
Well, time has become a factor going against South Broward. If they can score, they try and go double coverage.
Man.
Far side incomplete.
In and out of the hands of the young man. And he doesn't look like he's going to be getting up anytime soon. And he gets up.
Little gimpy.
Number 16.
Yeah.
On the reception.
Pass intended for Timothy Nelson that time. Trying to go long is Hall in this Bulldog offense, but the clock is a-ticking as we come up on the 7-minute mark. 7:04 exactly to be left in this one. 21-6 still to count. Western, they've controlled the game most of the way. Been up 3/4 of the way in this one. Big third down situation coming up for South Broward. Hall completes one and popped.
Boom.
And are they going to consider that complete? No. So he had it momentarily and did not control it all the way down.
Number 20 for Western on a big-time pop, and that young man is definitely taking his time.
Hunter Stevens from that safety spot coming in, popping him just as he hit the ground. They're going to call that one incomplete, and that's a big-time defensive play. And that young man is still down, so he was wobbled and dazed after momentarily completing that. Completing that catch, I should say.
St. Petersburg in the broadcast, Stockton, California, Moorhead, and Boca Raton joining us on the broadcast tonight. Thank you for tuning in to the last regular season football game here in South Florida, and it's gone by, I don't want to say too quick because we've done so many games. 8 games last month.
Mm-hmm.
So averaging 2 games a week, which is outstanding for us, putting a lot of exposure. Can't wait to run some analytics, not only tonight, but 2 weeks ago, Chris, we hit 1 million people in 1 week. So
pretty impressive.
We
to say the
average
least.
1.2, reach 1.2 on social media a month. But that, between the Piper, I want to say the Piper Coral Springs High and then the Charter game, we hit 1 million people in 1 week. So outstanding things by this HSPN team, no
Big
doubt.
fourth down coming up, Brian. And this one, is it caught, tipped around, and picked off Western, going back the other way. He's got a few blockers, shed some tackles, and still on his feet, up across the 30, and that might put the nails in the coffin. Western getting a pick around the 5-yard line, returning it about 30 yards the other way. And Western looking good to close out the 2015 season. Steamrolling toward that 5th win. 6:38 on the clock, 21-6, Western up.
The offense takes another chance. I mean, Hall is going down the field every time. Like we said, we haven't seen too many combination routes. They keep taking that chance down the field, and on multiple occasions, you almost look as if they caught the ball, but they're just struggling to convert tonight.
And that was a 4th down and forever for them, and they could not convert.
Yeah.
And we're going back the other way. Nice run by James Leon for Western. And they're probably content with chewing up that clock as we come up on the 6-minute mark, and a nice gain of about 7. So 2nd and 3 coming up for Monaco and the Wildcats. Actually, they're going to try and put it up in the air. A short completion on the screen, taking his time, setting up blockers, and nice gainer by Elijah Moore. Nice patience by the young man.
And I'm calling impact player of the game watch with 5:57.
Yeah.
And I think you know who I'm thinking of based on the last play.
Okay. Gotcha.
So, and we always love to hear your comments as well. So every game we do player of the game, we announce it. So we'd love to hear your comments as well, who you think earns that spot at player of the game.
5:57 remaining in regulation. Western well on their way to picking up the W here. Homecoming festivities on their home turf, trying to close out 2015 campaign, as I said a minute ago, to pick up that 5th win of the season, coming in 4-5 overall, and trying to get that bitter taste, bitter loss out of their mouth from last week's loss, 50-20 against Miramar. Of course, South Broward in rebuilding mode. Only 3 seniors on this South Broward team. So a very young team for Coach Georgia and his squad. They will probably be a force next year with a lot coming back, Hall included. They complete the pass over the middle, still breaking tackles and falling forward after a nice reception. Ferdinand, that'll keep the sticks moving. Clock stopped with 5:41 remaining.
Oh, and I found out it's both the JV and the varsity cheerleaders squad.
I see. Okay, makes sense. Makes sense.
Correction on that.
And plowing right up the middle, gain of about 9.
Potential points here.
James Leon.
I'm calling it. Potential points here. They haven't stopped yet.
They've got South Broward on their heels. South Broward has chewed up a lot of clock here in this fourth quarter. Probably 7 or 8 minutes of the fourth quarter going on the South Broward side, but no points to show for it. Western on the move, already up 21-6, and they've got South Broward reeling. They complete another one over across the middle, and that's a gain of about 15. Tight end pulling that one in. I believe that was 82, Jordan Lindsay, the senior. The tight end spot pulling that one in. We'll see if this one stands, though. It will not. As we wait on the official call, looks like this one's going to be a legal block, and this one's going to be brought back. So that will negate a nice reception that time.
All right, so we got a shout out here. River Forest, Hialeah, and one of our YouTube subscribers that's watching the game. There's a shout out to Elijah Moore. His name is Dope Man Dopey.
Okay. All right, going up top. Back of the end zone, incomplete. He had it.
So shout out.
Soto couldn't pull it in.
And just to refresh that, Dope Man Dopey, Elijah Moore is probably going to be our player of the game tonight. Just going to throw that out there, but there's still time for something miraculous to happen to change our minds.
And this young man's just a sophomore, right?
Yeah.
So he's got 2 more years to marinate,
right,
and get it together even more. 4:18 remaining, regulation. Monaco and Western, as he's pressured, tries to get that one off. And they're going to have late flags coming in as just roughing the passer. That's just silly.
Yeah.
At this point. So Western's going to move forward even more as Monaco, a little extracurricular on him. After he got the pass off, roughing.
Was that intentional grounding?
I guess they did. I checked that. They actually did not call that against South Broward. They actually called intentional grounding against Western. Loss of down, and they're going to have to give the ball back. Wow, I would have been willing to bet the clothes on my back that was going to go against South Broward. Goes against Western instead, though. So 4th down on the loss of down for Monaco on the intentional grounding call. Thought that was going to be a late hit against South Broward, but it does not work against South Broward. They'll get the ball back, but the clock is ticking.
And we got another shout out from Dope Man Dopey. Tell Sean Moore in the booth, Jordan said locks, no keys. Not too sure what that means, but shout out to Sean Moore.
That's some between them lingo.
Yeah, it's got to be. It's got to be. So, number 1, Sean Moore. Shout out to Dope Man Dopey. And he's on YouTube. So, Once again, we can't see it. The booth can see what's going on YouTube, so they getting it to us via Twitter on the page saying, Telshawn Moore locks no keys, so we might have to get someone to tell us what that means.
So 3:31 remaining here in this one, and South Broward on their last breath. Got to get something going to even make this one interesting at this point. They're starting from inside their own territory, and keeping it on the ground not going to work too well for them, although nice effort that time pushes it forward about 5 yards, so 2nd and about 6 we'll call it coming up. Ball spotted just short of the 20, just across the 15, we'll call it the 16-yard line. 3:08 remaining here in the fourth. 21-6 still the count here from Davie, Florida, HSPN Sports. Of course, Chris Jenkins and Ryan Stout on the mics with you. And we thank you for joining us. We've gone worldwide tonight. Numerous countries tuning in, checking us out. Hall being pressured near side. Will he get this one off? He tries to complete the screen pass to his running back, and they might call this intentional grounding as a late flag comes in. We'll see what it is.
I think he tried to throw it to his lineman.
I think you're right. So it might be
ineligible receiver.
Yeah.
I don't know. Okay, so we got confirmation. Interpretation. Once again, dope man dopey. Locks no keys means lockdown. Okay.
All right.
It's new age, I guess. I don't think you're going to find that call on locks no keys on your call sheet, though.
And you are right, Brian. That was an eligible receiver downfield, so that's going to penalize South Broward, back them up even further. And they're looking at 2nd down and about, third down and about 20. They do complete the pass and still breaking tackles, moving forward. Nice effort toward getting to the sticks, and he might have gotten there. And I believe that was number 6, Berthany Eileen, on that reception. But 2:22 on the clock, and maybe too little, too late, as South Broward just struggling to get some points on the board, let alone have an opportunity in this one as we come up on the 2-minute mark, just short of it. Hall completes a swing pass and lit up. Flags coming in late. We'll see.
Big time hit.
Rashard Mitchell, I think, caught that one.
I was looking at the defense back.
Number 8 stepping it up. That's Jalyn Goldwire laying the wood.
Coming up, that might be on him. I'm not too sure why it would be on him.
Yeah, looked like a pretty clean tackle.
Yeah, just setting up your wide receiver. But, you made a great point. The fact that we were unaware that there's only 3 seniors on this South Broward football team.
Yeah.
Makes a tremendous impact from a leadership standpoint.
Yep.
You have a first-year head football coach.
Yep.
I don't know if first year that might, I don't know about that. First year head football coach, but first time head coach for South Broward.
Right.
And then you have 3 seniors. So, tremendous learning curve, no doubt, for these juniors coming up next year. So, potentially looking at probably a better season. And if this quarterback returns, I think they're in pretty good hands.
Absolutely. As he bobbles the snap on the shotgun initially, manages to get what he can and get out of bounds. Ball is just up across the 40. We'll call it the 41. South Broward still maintaining possession as they face about a 2nd and 5. But about a minute 40 remaining in this one. There are flags on the play as if pass is completed with enough for first down yardage, and they finally whistle this one dead. And they are officially inside of Western territory for the moment if this play stands. We'll see.
Got a flag down on the field in the Wildcat backfield.
So 1:32 on the clock here left in regulation. Western on their way to picking up their 5th win and close out the 2015 season 5-5 overall. Just 1:32 away from doing that. So that play does stand, and it is a first down conversion. South Broward keeping the sticks moving. They pick up about 5 more and does not get out of bounds. So that is probably going to be it. Clock is still running as the pass was completed inbound. So we're under a minute now left here in this one. Hall. And he might be sacked. He's going to be sacked. So that might just do it. Sacked at midfield is Hall. Loss of about 5 or 6 more on the play. And we finally got a stoppage with 34 seconds remaining in this one. So all that's left is what the final score is going to be. Chris Jenkins, Ryan Stout on the mics with you here from Davie, Florida tonight, here on HSPN Sports. We thank you for tuning in all across the country and the world tonight. Good stuff for you. Not two of the marquee teams that you would expect here in the South Florida area, but still great athletes nonetheless doing their thing. And Western.
Yeah, and talking about great athletes, player of the game, I'm calling it with 34 seconds on the clock.
Okay.
Number 3, Elijah Moore, player of the game tonight. This young man has 5 catches for 68 total yards. So,
just a very electric player, very difficult. You have to swarm him to get him down. He's played well tonight, just a sophomore, so 2 more great years coming up for him as part of this Western
and that's a great point.
Wildcat program.
So, and a shout out here, I'm looking at, here's Florida Gridiron Preps, Broward County, probably the game of the week. We got the Falcons, Flanagan Falcons, taking on the Raiders. Third quarter, the Falcons are up by only 1.7 to 6. So, big game there for the Falcons and the Raiders.
Last play of the contest just now as South Broward tries to put it up in the air, and that one's incomplete.
And that's going to do it here Friday night under the lights. Last regular season game of the year. And we're kicking it off and closing it out with the Western Wildcats hosting their homecoming night against South Broward Bulldogs. 21 points on the board. Only South Broward came up with 6 points on the board. Came out strong, 6 points. South Broward, I'm surprised. They came out strong.
Yes.
Crawford, Hall, they were all on point. Put points on the board. Extra point, didn't get it.
Yeah.
Whatever. But just completely shut it down second half.
Absolutely.
Western just consistent. Really, that's what they were.
Yes.
That's probably the word. Consistency the entire game for the Western Wildcats.
Well, it seems like they made them one-dimensional, Ryan. After they got that big run, they kind of keyed in on them and bottled up Hall. They had a running game in store. It looked like for the remainder of the game or the remainder of the contest after that first score.
Yeah.
But Western picked up on that and limited the big plays from that point on, and South Broward just could not get anything going. They stayed with the game plan, kept it on the ground. They'll probably win time of possession, but that doesn't always mean you're going to win the game.
Yeah. Well, it was a non-conference game. Neither of these teams are going to the playoffs, unfortunately, but we were glad to be here nonetheless. The administration, big shout out to Western High School for having us tonight. Coach Ratkovich for hitting us up and asking for HSBNsports.com to be out here to broadcast the game tonight. A lot of games going on in Broward County that we could have covered, but we wanted to be here for Western because they wanted us to be here. So we're committed to those schools that are committed to us. Big shout out to Ralph Vidal, head football operations, for giving us really the red carpet treatment. A big shout out to Jimmy Arojo, the principal here, that couldn't get up here for an interview during that halftime because it was homecoming. But ultimately, last regular season game of the year, getting into playoffs once again. This is high school game day, Friday night under the lights. Ryan Stout and Chris Jenkins, South Broward and Western. Western coming out on top. We thank you for joining us tonight from wherever you were. And make sure to tune in to upcoming action coming up in the next couple weeks.